Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. So today it was actually supposed to rain all day, and now the forecast has shifted. So instead of working on indoor projects, I'm actually actively trying to get things set up for the big heat dome that is coming for us. So next week it's supposed to be in between the mid 90s to upper 90s as the highs, which is absolutely insane for Ohio weather. So for those of you that live in the South, that's not that big of a deal. You have different animals that are more adapted to that sort of a climate. You have different things in place, and you're just naturally adapted to that. Just like I'm naturally adapted to handling colder weather, so are our animals. It's kind of the same deal. So it's kind of been a big, mad scramble dash thing today. Even though it's really hot and sticky and muggy out, since it was supposed to rain, but like I said, it's not going to, which is kind of very concerning because right now we're actually in a bit of a drought. Which is kind of funny because I've been talking for months now about how wet and soggy our soil is and how you can't do anything because it's too wet, and now it's so dry that there's like big deep cracks and fissures all over the place, which is kind of concerning. I was really counting on this rain so that I didn't have to water the garden in anticipation of all of the heat wave, but it is what it is. Thankfully we're on a well, so it's not going to like jack up our water bill or anything like that to water things. But anyways, one of the big things that we actually did today was we moved the rabbits. So as you guys know, our rabbits were right next to the driveway, which was honestly, it was in a full sun setting. So what we did was we ended up moving them. They are down over here in the pines, which south is away from the pines. So it is actually blowing. Yeah, blowing. The sun blows, guys. It blows. Um, but it is actually, the sun is actually coming towards the pines. However, the pine trees and the needles and stuff, they actually come out far enough that it is going to cast shade over top of where the rabbits are at now. With that being said, we still will have to give them ice bottles to keep them cool enough. And we probably will have to set up a whole bunch of fans to keep the rabbits cool enough that nobody overheats and dies. That is a very big concern with rabbits, is when it gets hot out, they cannot handle it. They are very prone to heat stroke and actually passing away, which we've had one actually pass away before from getting scared just because the mower went close to her. So, I mean, rabbits can be finicky. The other thing that we're going to do today is I have some of this metal grating, which I had used it on the duck and goose mobile coop to make it so that way there was a good amount of ventilation and airflow that would go through the coop. I have this piece here, and then I have another piece that's like, I think like 7 foot long, something like that. I'm going to use a grinder to cut it into smaller sections, so then that way I can actually poke holes into the barn so that way there's ventilation. Because like I said, there was a tire that was in the roof up over, which you guys can't see, up over here. There was a tire that was like covering a big hole in the roof, and one day, the turkey boys were walking up there when it fell through. So I had to patch that up, and ever since I did that, it's made it so there's not good ventilation in the barn. So when it's hot out and we have everybody locked up and closed up, it does get pretty intense in here. It's a lot better now that we don't have the ducks and geese in this part over here of the barn, but still there's not airflow, and it's very dark in here because that window that's over there, I actually added that in before we brought our animals here because it was pitch black in there. So what I'm going to do is this wall that's behind me here, I'm going to actually cut a pretty decent sized hole into the OSB that is there. And I'm going to save the OSB so that when it becomes wintertime, I can slap it back up and take it back off as it gets warmer. But so that'll actually add in a whole bunch more light, and it'll also add a lot of airflow. The window that is behind me here, there's missing panes from there that somebody decided it was before we got this place, that was a great target shooting area. It's a lot of what the barn was for target shooting. So there's already lots of little holes, like 22 size holes, and small caliper holes all over the barn, which does make it so there is some ventilation, but it's definitely not enough for how hot it's going to be. Which goats, they do much better in cooler weather than really hot weather. So this is going to be kind of a big, sweaty, monumental task to poke multiple holes in, so then that way everybody can stay cool, but also especially so that way when I'm milking, I can stay cool, because yesterday it was upper 80s, and I was like feeling like I was going to die just by sitting here milking and stuff, because there's literally no airflow coming through the barn, because it's kind of where it's at on our property. It is actually kind of protected from the wind, which is great in the wintertime, but in the summertime, not so great, because then it just gets really stifling in here. So hopefully that'll all go well, that I'm hoping that I can just basically rip stuff out, plug pieces in. Hopefully it won't be a big, huge, monumental task. The biggest thing is to make sure that there's airflow while also remaining predator proof, because there is a large raccoon population. I don't know why words are so hard for me today. There's a large raccoon population in this area, and we've already lost plenty of birds to the raccoons, and we don't want to basically, in the attempts to keep everybody cool, make it so that way everybody's a good dinner snack for a raccoon. So hopefully this all goes well. Hopefully I don't end up cutting myself or anything like that with all the metal that I'm going to be working with. Metal is not the medium that I like to work with, but I know that there's a time and a place for it, and this is definitely the time and the place. So if you guys are enjoying this content, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends on social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to help us grow. We'd greatly appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.